Always happy to see those faces. Lots of new faces. Especially nice to see the new faces. This is 1 Million Cups. Many of you have been here. I sound like a broken record. If you haven't, that's okay. 1 Million Cups is a place. It's an event put on by the Kauffman Foundation that allows entrepreneurs and business leaders to come and share their journey, share their story, and then connect with the community. It's also a big networking event. So don't be shy. Don't scurry out of here unless you've got something to do, which we understand. But today I've had a few of people that I got to present that were really special to me. Some of them I knew personally. This is another one of those that is kind of close to home. Accelerate Arkansas. Does anyone raise a hand right now? Does anyone know what Accelerate Arkansas is? Okay, few people. So you're kind of sitting right now in a product of Accelerate Arkansas in one way or the other. I won't go too much into it, but some time ago, a group of people got together and said, we're going to move the needle in Arkansas with entrepreneurism, economic development. And this wasn't just them putting a real estate investment in somewhere. It was legislative initiatives, putting boots on the ground, putting organizations in place, making these boards happen, putting funding in place. And so Mary Lewis, the executive director of Accelerate Arkansas, is going to share a little bit more with you today. Welcome up, Mary. Give her a round of applause.
Good morning. Do I need this? Or do y'all hear me? I need it. I need it. Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Okay. Spencer said, I'm Mary Lewis. I'm the executive director for Accelerate Arkansas, and it is something that not a lot of people know about, and we hope to change that in the near future. Accelerate Arkansas started about 10 years ago. A lot of the guys that are really the old guys started this, like James Hendren, Jerry Adams, Gary Campbell, a lot of really neat guys who still work within the landscape of entrepreneurism and innovation in the area, got together and said, really their ultimate goal was to increase the per capita income of Arkansans to the national average by 2020. Well, since we're 4 years away from that goal and we're really not there, we don't know that the 2020 part's going to necessarily happen, but the goal is still there, and we are really still working to do that. And the way we're trying to do that is by increasing knowledge-based jobs. We're working all the way from the bottom to the top, from K-12 education, higher ed, the legislature, just doing everything that's needed to provide incentives for businesses, for economic development. There's just so much going on. And the thing that's so super exciting is that the governor's initiatives right now are very in line with what we've already been doing for about 10 years. So it's all sort of coming together in a really, really cool way. So, on paper, that's our goal, to raise the per capita income of Arkansans to the national average. But it takes so much to get there. That is just sort of like throwing a little drop in the bucket compared to what all needs to happen. We do have some core initiatives, core strategies. These are things that the guys came up with when they were trying to just define how are we going to tackle this task. So as you can see on the screen, they're sort of heady, sort of bunch of PhDs sat in a room and came up with all of this. So it's not real friendly, talk, but really they do work to create jobs that are knowledge-based jobs, bringing, technology and jobs to Arkansas. The real thought was, it's not really likely that people are going to look out on the landscape and say, hey, let's go move our business to Arkansas. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to home grow all of our folks. So we're starting K-12, teaching them skills and inspiring them, creating innovative opportunities where they will want to be the next guy that's an Arkansan who builds his business and keeps it here. And that's something we're really working on a lot. Some of you guys are working on money and developing risk capital. We really work to try to sustain the industry that we already have here. You see all of these core initiatives. Like I say, we really have a strategy around each one of them. And then down at the bottom, increase the education level of Arkansans in STEM. We did help start all of the major programs that are out there are started by Accelerate Arkansas, the STEM Coalition, Arkansas Research Alliance, Innovate Arkansas. All of those programs that are out there, Jerry and James and all the guys that were the guys who started Accelerate Arkansas said, let's look out on the landscape. Let's see what gaps are out there. Let's fill the need, Let's create an organization to fill the need, and then let's push it out there and make it self-sustaining. So we don't manage any programs. We just see a need, put together an organization that can fill that need, push it out there with a director and with a budget and with some kind of sustainable stream of revenue, and then support it, whether they need legislation to make it happen, if they need money, if they need a director. But the idea is for them to be standalone organizations. So we've really just stepped back, looked at all we've done. We feel like we're at sort of an Accelerate Arkansas 2.0 time. Okay, we sort of did what we set out to do. And now we're looking out and going, okay, what are the gaps now? What's left out there that needs to be done? And so we're sort of just talking about that. And so what are the remaining gaps, and how can we interject the to help where there are needs? We had a big board meeting on Monday, and we came up with the thing that continues to be talked about is workforce. We've got to have a workforce that has the needs that the businesses that fills the needs that the businesses have. And so I think that might be one of the critical things that we tackle next. So that's a little bit about our history, a little bit about what we do. The most exciting thing that we have going on right now is a young professional program that is going to be happening. It's going to be called 501-101. And it's literally just the brainchild of Spencer and Eric Thomas and a few other folks. Jordan talked with us about it, just putting together a young professional group. Most of our board, I think the youngest person's like 65. I'm like, maybe, I'm like a spring chicken to them, and I'm like way older than all of y'all. So anyway, it's just and they recognize that, and they want to cultivate the next generation. And yet, so we're going to start this young professional program, and you will be hearing more about that later. It's going to be very loose, very much like the entrepreneurial scene, as far as just starting a conversation and seeing where it goes. You want to tell a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So it was an Accelerate Arkansas retreat, and it was kind of all the, those belt and suspenders, guys in the room. And like, they had done such a good job of building this infrastructure, but they were talking about, how do we get these, young people to get interested in coding? And I kind of frankly said, hey guys, like, they don't want to hear it from you. They don't want to have, grandpapa come up there and say, you should start coding. They want to hear it from faces that are familiar to them. And they want to hear it in a way that they're used to being talked to, and from people that they can connect with, really. And so that was part of it. And part of the other thing too is that we just wanted to connect people. And if anyone's ever heard of an event called Undercurrent in Memphis, I lived in Memphis this past summer, and it was just a great event, and there was no structure to it. It was like, you come, there wasn't anyone presenting, there wasn't a speaker, there was food, booze, music. That's it. That was it. And so we're trying to kind of recreate that. And it's, whether you're, a college student that's 21, whether you're 45 and you've, worked in the cookie cutter box office job in your cubicle, come. It's one of those things where we want people there that make Little Rock great, make it what it is for the entrepreneurs, for, those guys that, go to the 9 to 5 and, walk out of their cubicle, like I said. So that was one of the things. And it was really at that retreat, I meant to mention that in the opening, at that retreat that we went to, it was so amazing to see all the different hands at work, dipping into the legislative side, putting a board together, putting these sustainable ecosystems like Innovate Arkansas, the ones that she mentioned, I think Innovate Arkansas, collaborating with the AEDC, Economic Development Commission, all those little things. And you're like, how did this happen? It didn't just happen by accident. It was this group putting it into motion. And like, we're all reaping the benefits right now. Us being in this space is a benefit from, the work that they put in place. So I'll let you keep going, and we'll do some questions after that.
The thing that is very exciting for our board is you should have seen them at the retreat with Spencer. He's like, he is their child. He is their product, because everything that they have been working for 10 years to say, we want to put the things in place so that when our young folks or people, and I say young folks, I don't really necessarily mean young in age, but young in ideas of entrepreneurship. When people come along and they are looking for opportunities and resources, we will have put the things in place that they need. And then to see someone who has taken advantage of that, seized it, and actually done something with it, it's like, that's their baby, that's their product. And it made them feel just really, really proud. And I'll tell one little story, and then I'll be done and ready for any questions. But we were in a little setting reception, and some guys, Spencer was standing at the end of the coffee table, and there were 4 or 5 men, 65 plus, just leaning in, listening to every word he had to say, because truly he was like, they were like, how are you doing? What are you doing? I don't even know all the questions. I was just seeing it from afar, but it was very exciting to see them because they were enamored that our work had a product. Our work did something of purpose, and it was very exciting to see them feeling like that their work had fruit. And so it was a very exciting moment. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know that's just a loose overview of Accelerate Arkansas, but I do think that over time you'll begin hearing a little bit more about us.
Questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Joe Calvin. How can you tell what Accelerate Arkansas is doing, what its programs are doing, that it's actually making a difference? What are the metrics that you can see it's moving the needle? How does that happen other than the fact that, hey, incomes are going up relative to the country?
Well, if we were to answer it by our mission, we would see is Arkansas increasing our per capita income? It's not happening very quickly. However, it has happened, and I may get this wrong. I think we've gone from 48th to 44th. So it is happening, and that is a truly measurable scale. I think the other way you can say is like the programs such as Arkansas Research Alliance, Innovate Arkansas, the Venture Center, some of these places that are a product of the original Accelerate Arkansas model are having fruit, and they are having people that are being rolled out into the community with viable businesses or viable products. Would you agree, Lee? Yeah. So I think those are maybe 2 ways we can measure that. And I also think one thing that's very important to remember, and this is something that's talked about a lot, is deliverables. And are we providing deliverables? A lot of times the first decade or more of anything that we do doesn't have a huge deliverable. You're just laying the groundwork, planting the seeds. Yes, sir.
Mary, just to add on to that, we were in the governor's office a couple weeks ago talking about the state incentives, the tax credits, the investment stuff, and the governor's aware that we've been competitive, but we have a long ways to go. And I think a lot of the work that Accelerate, James, and others have done to go from the state economic development strategy of smokestacks to supporting tech and micro entrepreneurship has really gone a long way. Some states were more competitive than, some we have to work on, but that's a huge asset that Accelerate has provided with legislative work, lobbying work, that a lot of people still maybe don't know, that all of that exists.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So one of the so your core purpose is to increase the average salaries, right, or income, but a lot of these initiatives are provoking innovation and entrepreneurship that is creating more efficient systems that might reduce actual jobs. So when you're faced with that question, how do you answer that in terms of, like, if you're pushing an entrepreneur to create some new technology that's going to eliminate 1,000 jobs, how does that actually hit the bottom line?
Well, my off-the-cuff answer to that would be, that's okay, because that's innovation. What I think, if you were just to get down to it, we're trying to eliminate someone trying to sustain their life on minimum wage on a McDonald's job. Innovation, that's still innovation. That's still education. That's knowledge-based. That's important. And I think it's growing we're not against that in any way. We are not just about jobs for the sake of jobs. And I know a lot of people are. I think the state chamber, even the governor, I don't know, want to speak totally for them, but I know a lot of times it's a job. Well, that's really not the focus that we take. We are really more on knowledge-based jobs, technology jobs, anything that is going to, in the long run, provide what you just mentioned. That answer? Yeah.
So, Mary, what can we do to help?
Well, I think we do need to spread the word. I would think attending these 501, 101 events would be fabulous, because that's really something that is part of this Accelerate Arkansas 2.0. Up until now, it has been this very small group of people, very select group, just working on policy and initiatives. And now we're really in this second phase, want to open it up to more of the public and make it where it's more of something that everyone can participate in. I do have some just actual needs that are beyond just, making it everybody aware. I mean, I have needs. We don't have a lot of a budget, as I guess that comes out from everybody's mouth these days, but we don't have a whole lot of a budget. I could use some help on some websites, some social media, some newsletters. There's a lot of anybody who wanted to intern with us. I mean, I would be so thrilled to have someone 1 or 2 days a week to help do some of these things that we really have a need for, but we don't have the staff for. And at this point, it's just not happening. Lee?
Is there any legislative work happening in the next session out there yet that this group can help talk to their?
We definitely are working on a legislative agenda upcoming. I'm pondering, wondering if I have the freedom to say that right this now, but we have.
Perhaps you should come back. Because I think we all have a vested interest in.
Yeah, we do have one major thing that we're trying to do. I sort of feel like I should run it by James before I put it out there, because it's still in just sort of conversation. But once we get it ready, we would love to have everybody rally behind that. So maybe in the next week or so, I could come back for an update. Yeah.
I have a suggestion, complete idea that I just thought of right now,
Sure.
but looking up at your words just up here, and as a founder of a company in technology, one of our biggest things that we struggle with is design. And today's world of design is a lot different than maybe creative advertising world design, because when you're designing for new technology today, whether it's a website or some new product, it's very engineering geared. But the creative process is a lot different than somebody who goes to an engineering school might learn. And I think that Arkansas is missing that. I think that if you ask people around the agency world, the startup world, tech world, one thing that's really hard to find is a really, really great designer. There's just not a lot of them to go around here. So it would be nice to see something maybe oriented, or, even if it's just maybe throwing design in the conversation of engineering, something like that, because I think that is a huge thing that we have to overcome is championing that and not thinking of it as like the art side of design, more of like the engineering side of design, because a lot of people don't really get that.
Very much.
One of the things we were talking about doing with 501 101 is having people, like, whenever you sign up for the event, just the first time, it's like 4 questions maybe about like what you do as a professional. And one of those could be, I do design like UX, right? And then if we find someone that's looking for talent in the UX space, we're going to be able to draw on that pool and say, hey, you should, if you indicated that you did UX, you guys need to have a conversation. That might happen organically at the event. We might be able to tee that up. But it's kind of in the same vein of thought of what you're looking for. I got to say this real quick, and then we'll go more questions. You're talking about creating jobs, kind of that job churn. You create technology that kills jobs. The highest volume job in the U.S. for men right now is truck drivers, and for women, it's executive assistants. Both of those jobs, you can very easily tell how our technology is going to make them more or less obsolete, especially truck drivers, right? It's just one of those things, but you might end up having almost like an air traffic controller that controls a fleet. That job doesn't exist, right? So that's just something that I thought of, because someone threw that statistic, and it was like millions of truck drivers that are, within 10 years, probably not going to have a job. So questions.
I mean, and just to parlay off what you just said, however, with all of the new inventions or the new innovation, there will be more jobs created that our minds can't even conceive yet. So we also know it's just going to be built on the back end, even though things are being eliminated on the front end.
Any more questions?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell us more
Should I
about
give him the mic, or does it matter?
Fine.
Okay.
loud enough?
Okay.
When is the first 501 101 events, and how could we become involved? Like, how do we actually sign up and become involved?
I'll take that.
Heads fits.
So we had just now started kind of the groundwork of planning them, and the structure we have right now is we're going to have a venue sponsor, which would be like Lost 40, where we're going to actually hold the thing at. We're going to have an ecosystem sponsor, which would be Venture Center, Innovation Hub, one of those kind of like high activity places for entrepreneurism. And then we're also going to have a corporate sponsor, which would be, Stevens Inc., Axiom, any company, whether small or big, that wanted to say, hey, like we're supporting what's going on in the community. And really with those three things, it's not going to cost money. I mean, it's, maybe the first 50 drinks are free, right? And then it's everybody just buys their beer here and there. But likely we're going to probably have one in February, and then they're going to be every about 5 weeks. We're not going to have this, be an every other week thing. We want it to be a bigger event, and we don't want to blow people's inboxes up with all this messages about whatever. So that February would be the first one, most likely. We will very soon. Or she
Write your name down when it's over. Just come up here and give me your information. It'd be fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Any
And
other
anybody who really does have the ability to help with website and social media and newsletter and all of this kind of stuff, we, even if it were like just a volunteer or a internship type situation for a season until we could get up and going, that would be fabulous. Or send me their name.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious about the last bullet, increasing the education. What specifically are you guys doing to interact with the education system, both the STEM science, all the sciences and technology? What are you guys doing?
Well, I'll just tell you a few things. And, obviously, probably more could be done. Actually, James Hendren, who's on our board, is leading up the computer science task force. And so a lot of our board members are very involved with Johnny Key and some of the folks over at the Department of Education and having that conversation. We did start the STEM Coalition, and that's Suzanne Mitchell, who is really working to just play in that STEM world. We're very open to ideas to see how we might engage more completely. And if you have any conversation, I'd be thrilled to visit with you about it. But definitely know that if we're going to increase knowledge-based jobs, we have got to increase the knowledge or the education of our people so that they can then become part of the workforce that can work in those jobs in the future. So it's a big conversation that doesn't always have a specific answer. It's just like the tentacles go out in a lot of directions, and we have to figure out how we're going to tackle that.
Yeah, and I'll give an example of like so technology, right? So the governor has this coding initiative. There's a matrix of about 25 coding courses or coding classes that they want taught from the K through 12. Well, we have a teacher workforce that doesn't know how to code, so who's going to teach that, right? So what infrastructure exists to go and train those teachers, or have staff that can say, hey, I'm going to teach this 1 week, and then for the next 2 weeks, you're going to do an online seminar. Who's making that online seminar? Who's doing that in-person teaching and then educating the teachers on how to interact with the kids with the coding? So like that type of thing is a way that Accelerate Arkansas would support the initiatives that are already going on. So, any other questions? Okay, 2 things real quick, or 3 things. First, I want to thank Gina's Catering for the wonderful food. Please stop, get some, take some to your coworkers. Yeah. And then we're going to do one last ask. Mary, if you can ask them for anything, everybody for anything. It's just one thing though. What could we do to help you, help Accelerate Arkansas? Floor is yours.
I've already said it twice. I need help with this. I need help with a website. I need help with social media. I need help. I could use some volunteers that could help us at least get just our infrastructure up to speed on even literally just setting up Facebook page, setting up all our social media sites, setting everything up that is just really dormant and needs a lot of help. I think that would be my number 1 ask right now.
Creating a social media presence. And then I would say if anyone knows any college students that are looking to intern, plugging into this group would mean a lot for a 21, 22, 29, whoever they're looking to intern. So I'd also like to, Elise Stroud real quick is going to say a bit about Pitch and Pint, I think, right?
Good morning. How many of you already signed up to go to Pitch and Pint on Saturday? Yay, Abby. All right, Saturday night, Flying Saucer. There will obviously be adult beverages. You need to come. First of all, you need to register at the venturecenter.co Pitch and Pint website. And this is a lot of fun. I pitched last time we did this and won an Apple TV. I think they upped the ante on the prizes this time. It's like $1,000. So it's fun. You don't have to have a lot of pitch practice. Just know your idea and come down and join us. It'll be entertaining. And if you don't pitch, you get to see some really interesting stories told. So either way, it's a good time. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm pitching, and if I win, I'm buying everybody tequila shots. So that's how I'm going to use the $1,000 prize. But thank you guys. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys for coming. This was fun. Please engage with Mary, Accelerate Arkansas, this 501-101 initiative we have going on. This is going to be a really cool event. And this group really does, like, when she said, like, I'm a fruit of their labor, like, it's really true. And like, we all, can tap into these resources that they've made available to us. So thank you guys again for coming out. Stay, eat some food, drink some coffee, and have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you guys.